Last night, I took a break from writing and watched a TV program on the history of a young man named Alexander Graham Bell. Bell had just patented his telephone and was having growing pains because the demand for his new invention was so strong. The Zoom looks a whole lot prettier. We have Rich Dad Poor Dad. We're up to chapter 5, which is extremely exciting. And chapter 5 is called The Rich Invent Money. And the subtitle is Often in the Real World, it's not the smart who get ahead, but the bold. Okay, let's get into it because I know that everybody has goals to work on. We're still really motivated. It's only the 11th day of the month. So we haven't even passed the first 2 weeks yet. Last night, I took a break from writing and watched a TV program on the history of a young man named Alexander Graham Bell. Bell had just patented his telephone and was having growing pains because the demand for his new invention was so strong. Needing a bigger company, he then went to a giant at the time, Western Union, and asked them if they would buy his patent and his tiny company. He wanted $100,000 for the whole package. The president of Western Union scoffed at him and turned him down, saying the price was ridiculous. The rest is history. A multi-million-dollar industry emerged and AT&T was born. The evening news came on right after the story of Alexander Graham Bell. On the news was the story of another downsizing at a local company. The workers were angry and complained that the company ownership was unfair. A terminated manager of about 45 years of age had his wife and 2 babies at the plant and was begging the guards to let him talk to the owners to ask if they would reconsider his termination. He just bought a house and was afraid of losing it. The camera focused in on his pleading for all the world to see. Needless to say, it held my attention. I've been teaching professionally since 1984. It has been a great experience and a rewarding one. It is also a disturbing profession, where I've taught thousands of individuals, and I see one thing in common in all of us, myself included. We all have tremendous potential, and we are all blessed with gifts. Yet the one thing that holds all of us back is some degree of self-doubt. It is not so much the lack of technical information that holds us back, but more the lack of self-confidence. Some are more affected than others. Once we leave school, most of us know that it is not so much a matter of college degrees or good grades that count. In the real world, outside of academics, something more than just grades is required. I've heard it called many things: guts, chutzpah, balls, audacity, bravado, cunning, daring, tenacity, and brilliance. This factor, whatever it is labeled, ultimately decides one's future much more than school grades do. And this one is very interesting because, Mladen just asked if I could go a little bit slower. So I am really enjoying this chapter and obviously going very quickly because I am enjoying and really in the flow of it. But what I will say is that as humans, we have these innate senses inside of us, and whether we have learned them properly or not is the question. So there are certain ways in which, if we come across in a certain way, most people will like us or people will not like us, depending on how we come across. And so the more we can learn about charisma, the more we can learn about the human psychology, the more we can learn about how our brains work and how we react to certain things and how emotions are going to dictate how we react as opposed to actually thinking. So our emotional mind is going to do so much more than our rational mind. We spoke about a few weeks ago where if I see something that looks dangerous, I'm not going to think about it. I'm just going to react immediately. And we think that that's only in situations of danger, but our minds do this all the time for everything. So we think that we are much more in control than we are, unless we detach from our emotions a little bit. Then we're going to be more in control. However, let me give you an example. So when we are looking for a mate or a partner, a woman is going to be looking for certain characteristics in a man. A man is going to be looking for certain characteristics in a woman. But very often we don't know some of those characteristics. So men tend to think very often they need to answer a woman and they need to be in touch with them, and they need to write them as often as possible. But what this is saying is that the man has plenty of time, because if he is constantly answering every message that the woman sends, so if she messages 5 times, he answers 5 times in the day, then it comes across to her subconsciously, she doesn't even know that this is happening, it will come across to her that he is not busy, he is not working on his goals, he is too busy doing other things, messaging her. And she wants somebody that has goals, somebody who is absolutely focused on those goals and is going to achieve those goals so that he has the resources to be able to protect her and any potential children. So we don't think about the fact that this might be the case. And we will then keep answering, thinking that we are doing what she wants because she keeps writing us. So we will answer her and we are showing her attention and love and all of those different kinds of things. But subconsciously in her mind, she doesn't realize that. She thinks that we are wasting time and not focused on goals and not a very good mate to have. And there are many of these different things. And so it's the same thing. We all have these amazing potentials, as Robert Kiyosaki said. We have these gifts, but very often it's this self-doubt and this ability to be able to understand how the mind works. So when we go into a room with successful people, we will say something that's going to put them off. And so we are not able to work together with them and learn from them. We might not turn up for a meeting because we self-doubt. And then we are not able to get the benefits of that meeting and achieve our goals, because in that meeting, we might have learned how to invest in a better way. We might have learned about a particular real estate deal. We might have learned about a particular stock, which is about to do really well. So it's really important that we learn as much as we can about ourselves as humans, and then we can use all of that in order to be able to propel ourselves forward. Once we leave school, most of us know that it is not so much a matter of college degrees or good grades that counts. I think we already read that part. Inside each of us is one of these brave, brilliant, and daring characters. There's also the flip side of that character. People who could get down on their knee and beg if necessary. After a year in Vietnam as a Marine Corps pilot, I got to know both of those characters inside of me intimately. One is definitely not better than the other. Yet as a teacher, I recognized that it was excessive fear and self-doubt that were the greatest detractors of personal genius. It broke my heart to see students know the answers, yet lack the courage to act on the answer. And this is what I used to see at my cafe all the time. We would play Robert Kiyosaki's board game, Cash Flow, and they would learn a principle about how to analyze a stock or how to analyze a property. And then when it was time to come back the week after, I would ask them what they had implemented, because to me, this knowledge was something really exciting, something that they could really use and implement now, something that they didn't know before, but now they did. And then I'd ask them, what have you done with this information? Have you gone and spoken to real estate agents? Have you done some research on this company? Have you thought about who runs the company? And for me, that's what I would immediately do. I'm not sure what the difference is between somebody that does show that interest and somebody that doesn't. But for me, it's just an automatic. When I learn something, I want to implement it. I want to find out how it works. I want to pull it apart and experiment with it. And when you can do that, then you are way ahead of everybody else, because now you are practicing, you are learning that skill. So it's really, really important that you find out what interests you, what lights your fire. And once you've learned a skill around that thing that lights your fire, go out and practice. And you don't have to throw money at it, but you can go to real estate agents. I used to live in Vienna, and I would go to real estate agents all the time and see if I could find properties that I thought might be good. And I'd go and inspect them. And I didn't have to buy them, but I could go and inspect them, tell them that I didn't like something about it. And then obviously I don't have to buy it. But I would be asking questions. What kind of rent would this place bring? What kind of people live in this area? So I would already start practicing the things that I've learned from books like this around real estate and the questions that you should ask and then whether the property is managed by a management company, or whether it's owned by the owners, or whether it is, there's all these different wonderful things that you can ask. And so you need to learn and then take that learning and implement. It broke my heart to see students know the answers yet lack the courage to act on the answer. Often in the real world, it's not the smart who get ahead, but the bold. In my personal experience, your financial genius requires both technical knowledge as well as courage. If fear is too strong, the genius is suppressed. In my classes, I strongly urge students to learn to take risks, to be bold, and to let their genius convert that fear into power and brilliance. It works for some and just terrifies others. I have come to realize that for most people, when it comes to the subject of money, they would rather play it safe. I've had to field questions such as, why take risks? Why should I bother developing my financial IQ? Why should I become financially literate? And I answer, just to have more options. And I suppose playing it safe is also very, very interesting, because you can do things safely and still start experimenting. In life, when you take certain risks, you are able to, I suppose, push yourself to the boundaries of where you feel comfortable and then move just beyond that. So you don't want to go all the way outside, but you do want to start pushing just slightly, because if you stay inside the confines, then you're not going to experience anything new or learn new things. And so you're going to be doing the same thing in the same way all the time. So if you have one investment strategy, and I actually put this into the newsletter that I send out, if you do one strategy and you just stick with that strategy, how do you know whether you have a better strategy out there that you might be able to implement? So I might be making, so let's say that if I go to a term deposit, I might be able to make 3% interest as opposed to 2% by putting my money on the bank. So now I found a strategy that makes a little bit more money, so I can be happy and content with that, which is wonderful. But I might be able to make more if I invest on the stock market itself. So now maybe I might be able to make 4%. But if I never entertain the idea, if I'm just satisfied and happy with and stay in my comfort zone around that 3%, then yes, it is a strategy that over time will be extremely good. But why not maximize and look for something that has 4%? But once I have that 4%, then again, you want to see if you can expand out a little bit further and potentially find something that might have 5%. And you don't have to go out and put money into something immediately, but you can test and play around and ask questions and find out whether it works or not. And then from there, you can move on to slightly better, slightly better. So I am always innovating as much as I can. And yesterday I was starting out on a test of a new strategy. So I have a strategy that works very well around stocks and options. And I have started experimenting once again, because I always do, with some ideas that I came up with as I was meditating. And then I started to research whether that strategy would actually be beneficial or not, whether it's better than the one that I currently have. And I'm always looking for something that's going to be a little bit better and take me further. Yes, I can continue doing what I'm doing, and it will be an extremely good strategy. But why not keep growing and learning? Because that is the human condition. We live by moving forward and growing. We live by experimentation and seeking adventure. So why not use that in your investing as well? There are huge changes ahead. In the coming years, there will be more people just like the young inventor Alexander Graham Bell. You can definitely see that at the moment. Almost everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people are starting businesses as opposed to most people going into work for big corporations. There will be 100 people like Bill Gates and hugely successful companies like Microsoft created every year all over the world. And there will also be more bankruptcies, layoffs, and downsizing. So why bother developing your financial IQ? No one can answer that but you. Yet I can tell you myself why I myself do it. I do it because it's the most exciting time to be alive. I'd rather be welcoming change than dreading change. I'd rather be excited about making millions than worrying about not getting a raise. This period we are in now is a most exciting time, unprecedented in our world's history. Generations from now, people will look back at this period of time and remark at what an exciting era it must be. It was the death of the old and the birth of the new. It was full of turmoil and it was exciting. We'll leave it at that for today. I hope you enjoyed that. If you would like to see more episodes of me reading Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and you are able to then go to YouTube to do that, you can find us at the Passive Cash Flow Club, and we would love to hear your comments and thoughts on the videos. And as I said, you can then watch everything back. We also have some exciting new videos coming up. One of them I'm waiting for my virtual assistant to send back to me, that she has finished and completed that one. So make sure you hit subscribe so you also get notifications for when the videos are uploaded, because we have some really exciting things coming up this year. So I'm really looking forward to sharing those with you. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you'd like to know more about Robert Kiyosaki's board game Cash Flow, we actually run a club and also have an online version, which takes it a little bit further to the next level so that you can learn the skills beyond just the basic skills that can help you to actually implement in real life, which, as you can probably tell from today's reading, is what I am all about. So feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. You can see what I'm up to, and you can reach out and ask about cash flow, or you can let me know your experiences with Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and any other thoughts and comments that you have as well, whether you agree or disagree with me. I'm happy to hear it all. So you can go to Instagram, where you'll find me at business_team_the number 6_official. I would love to hear from you. And I would like to say that I really appreciate you being here today. I appreciate your feedback and thoughts. And I'm looking forward to getting to know as many of you as possible. So have an amazing day and make sure you work on your goals, because there is so much amazing things for you to discover outside of that comfort zone. And yeah, a great life to live if you achieve your financial goals. So let's go out and work on that today. And I'm looking forward to being in touch.